Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to Smashing English. Before we start this video, be sure to subscribe because we make new videos all the time and I don't want you to miss any. So with that said, let's get on with the video. Happy Valentine's Day, a day that can go one of two ways. It's either a day of romance, chocolates, love, or it's a day of crying, stalking your ex-partners on social media and waiting for the whole day to end. Whatever your situation is, I wish you a very lovely Valentine's Day. Now, because it's a day of love, I thought we could look at one of my favourite romantic comedies, Love Actually, written by Richard Curtis. This film is one of my favourite films of all time. It's mainly a Christmas film, but obviously it's also very centred around love. Now I know what you're thinking. Laura, why is looking at Love Actually going to help me learn English? Let me tell you. I think that this film does a really good job of showing British people, mainly British people, there is one American person in it, but mainly British people talking in quite a normal way. Sometimes with British media like Downton Abbey or Peaky Blinders, you know, period pieces, they don't really show British people talking how we really talk. Whereas in Love Actually, there are so many British slang words and phrases that we really use every day. So I am going to teach you some British slang words and phrases that can be found in the film Love Actually. Just a little warning, there might be a few teeny little swear words in this because in Britain we do use teeny little swear words quite a lot and also quite big swear words quite a lot, but today there'll only be little teeny ones in, so if you've got any little teeny people watching, maybe say bye-bye if you don't want them hearing teeny tiny swear words, okay? That's my disclaimer done. Okay, first off we have pop. It's a great word, pop. And in one particular scene in this film, we hear it used twice. So we have the character Jamie, he comes home to find his brother Chris in his house and he says, "What are you doing here?" And Chris says, "Oh, I just popped over to borrow some old CDs." And then a couple of lines later, Jamie says, "I thought I'd pop back before the reception." So what they mean by pop is just to go somewhere quickly. So popping back somewhere is to go back somewhere, but do it quickly. I'm not going to stay there for a long time, I'm just popping back. I'll be in there for about 5 minutes. Or you might hear someone say, "Can you pop to the shops and get me some bread?" Just pop to the shops, just go to the shops quickly, don't spend a long time there, just a 5-minute job. So in Britain, if you hear the word pop used in a situation like this, it means to go somewhere quickly. Next up, we have a word that appears multiple times in this film, but in different situations and in different contexts. And the word is bugger. What a great word, bugger. Oh, bugger. So the first time we hear it is when the Prime Minister realises that there is a gorgeous woman called Natalie working for him, and he's just started being the Prime Minister and he's thinking, oh no, why is there a woman that I'm probably going to fall in love with working for me? That's going to distract me, it's going to be horrific. And he says, bugger. That is genuinely bad timing. So when you hear bugger used like this, it's an exclamation, it's a sign of frustration, it's something you say if something's gone wrong, if you're annoyed, oh, bugger. But then later on in the film, we also hear bugger used like this, bugger off, bugger off. And that just means go away, get out of here. It's like a playful, friendly, banter way of saying go away. You wouldn't say it to your boss, you probably wouldn't say it to your grandmother, but you might say it to a friend if you were just teasing them. Bugger could be considered as like a tiny swear word. I don't think many people in Britain would be offended if you said the word bugger. It's not like the F word or anything. It's like a tiny swear word, like a little one. I'd say bugger off isn't used so much anymore. I think now bugger off has been replaced by piss off. Now piss off I think would be considered as maybe a next level up swear word. It's a bit more aggressive, I'd say. You know, if I told someone to piss off, that's normally not a playful thing. It's normally an angry thing. You know, I hate you, go away, piss off. You know, if I say that to you, it means I don't like you. So I say bugger off is a bit more friendly, piss off is a bit more get out. The next word we have is dodgy, and we hear the word dodgy when Colin is talking about some weird looking food. He says, yeah, a bit dodgy, isn't it? Dodgy just means weird, suspicious, something that you can't trust. You know, if your food looks dodgy, maybe it looks like it's rotten or looks like it might give you food poisoning, or it just looks a bit weird. I'm not confident in that. Natalie talks about where she lives. She says, I'm from Wandsworth, the dodgy end. So the dodgy end of Wandsworth, the dodgy end of a place, is the bad end. The end where, you know, if you live there, you might get robbed, you might run into some criminals. So dodgy basically is suspicious, not very good, a bit untrustworthy, you can't trust it. Then the character Colin is talking about why British girls don't like him. He's saying, you know, this is the reason I don't have a girlfriend. It's because British girls, they don't understand me. He says that the girls who would be most suited to him are the girls who are game for a laugh. Now, I think it's much more common nowadays to say up for a laugh, but it means the same thing. So if you are up for a laugh, you are someone who enjoys a joke. You're someone who enjoys a laugh. You are someone who doesn't take yourself very seriously. You're fun to be around. You're up for a laugh. The next word I want to tell you about is sack. To sack. To sack someone. The Prime Minister talks about wanting to sack someone. If you want to sack someone, you want to fire them. So we might say, George sacked Lisa earlier on, which just means George fired Lisa. Or we might say, Lisa got the sack. So sack can also be a noun. The sack. Lisa got the sack. Lose your job. Bye. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is a phrase. So Natalie is talking to the Prime Minister and she is talking about her old boyfriend. She's saying she used to have a boyfriend who wasn't very nice, and the Prime Minister says, oh, I'm sorry about that. And then Natalie says, I'm well shot of him. I'm well shot of him. To be shot of something means that you are far away from something. You've taken yourself away from someone or something, but it usually means that you are much better without that thing or that person. It's better that I'm away from them. I'm well shot of him. So I'm far away from him, I'm distanced from him, but also it's a good thing, so it's fine. Then, of course, it wouldn't be a British film if some people did not talk about the traffic. We love talking about the traffic in Britain. It's all we talk about. Traffic and weather, that's it. The character John starts talking about the traffic and he calls it murder. He says, Junction 13, that's just murder. So obviously, murder means very, very bad. Bad traffic. Next up, we have sodding. What a great word. The Prime Minister says at one point, so much sodding money. Ask him why he's spending so much sodding money. Sodding is just a word that you might hear to emphasize something. It's like so much bloody money. It's just another teeny tiny swear word that you might put in front of something if you want to emphasize it. Next up, we have a scene between Daniel and Sam is a little boy and he's very, very in love with this little girl and it's very sweet. And he's talking about the fact that this girl is the only girl for him. There's only one person for him and she is it. And then Daniel says, fair point. And if you hear fair point, it just means, yeah, okay, I understand. That's a good point. You make sense there. That's a good point. But some people nowadays just say fair. Instead of fair point, they might just say, yeah, fair. Next up, we have the scene that is probably my favourite scene in the whole movie. The Prime Minister realises he's in love with Natalie, so he goes down the street that he knows she lives on and he knocks on every door to try and find Natalie. And the woman who opens one of the doors that he knocks on says, you're not who I think you are you? And he says, yes, afraid so. Afraid so is just a phrase that I think sums up British people because we're always afraid. We're always afraid of offending people, I think. So we would use afraid so if you are giving some negative news, some bad news, something that maybe the person might not want to hear. So obviously in this context, he's using it as a joke. So the person's saying, are you the Prime Minister? And he says, yes, afraid so, like, sorry about that. You know, a bit of self-referential humour. Now we come to our final phrase. So towards the end of the movie, everyone is at the airport and we hear one character saying to the other, what are you doing here? He doesn't say, what are you doing here? He says, what are you doing here? This is quite common in a lot of people from London. They might just take out words like are. So like, what are you doing here? Or instead of what are you saying, they might say, what are you saying? Again, quite common with some people, not for everyone, but sometimes you might hear that are dropped. And that's about it. I hope you learned some new words and phrases from this film script. I highly recommend the film if you want to watch the film. It's a bit rude, so check the classification. Don't watch it with your 5-year-old children, maybe, just a warning. But it's a lovely, lovely film. I love it so much. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below and I will try to get to as many as I can. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can do so there. If you want an online one-to-one English lesson with me or my partner, the link for that is down below. And I want to say a massive, massive thank you to our patrons. Here they are. Aren't they beautiful? These people are currently receiving extra learning material for every single video. So when I post a video, I make a PDF with questions and more things to learn based around the theme of the video. So they're getting extra stuff. And they are also on my close friend story on Instagram. So I post daily English tips and things that I think will be useful on my close friend story, but only these guys can see it. It's like a little party. So if you want to be on the close friend story and you want the learning materials, look at the link down below, the Patreon link. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta!